It went back to Yazoo, came back. They said it was fine. The scratchy signal reports continued. Art Bullock was kind enough to come over about a week ago and looked at it and said, no, this thing's not working. So we got the Yazoo tech back on the phone. The three of us looked at it, and they said, it's not working. Send it back. And about a week went by, and the FedEx label never showed up. So I called this Yazoo tech back, and he forgot the conversation we had. So he had me do all the tests over again, said, sure enough, it's not working, send it back. So it's with FedEx now, on its way back to Yazoo for its second visit. And I've only had it for 3 months. It hasn't worked yet. So
are they just going to... Can't they just give you just a new one? Just another one, a replacement, and then they can figure it out?
But I'm starting to ramp up my, traditionally I would just go with the flow, but I'm starting to try to put a little, pressure on Yazoo. Hey, come on, let's get this thing working. I spent all this money on it. Hasn't
exactly.
worked yet. I'm not getting the warmest vibe back from them. But they say they're going to make it right. We'll see. They wanted me to spend more money to ensure the return shipment. I said, wait a minute. You haven't given me a working radio yet. I don't think I should spend more money till you get me a working radio. So we're having a little bit of a back and forth. Hopefully it shows up and they get it working.
And HRO won't just accept a return or something? Or
well, when I first went back to, I'm a new 991 operator. I spent I thought it was me. So it was about 3 weeks before I went back to HRO. And they said, well, if it was in the first week, we could have handled it here, but you went over our time limit. So now it's in Yazoo's hands.
That's
frustrating. So now it's into that. It's got a 3-year warranty on it. So Yazoo's supposed to make good on it.
Fix it or replace it or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in this weird space. Hoping this all ends well.
I'm sorry to hear that. I happen to have a 991A, and it's in the closet there, and been very, very happy with it. When I had it, I've got a 101 now.
Well, I mean, I've never been through this before. I thought, I'm a 3 years into this journey being a ham, and so I was all excited. I got this nice new radio. I'm on a learning curve, and it's been a real strange trip here for a few months. Hopefully, I'll be on a call sometime and have good story for you all.
Gotcha.
It's all worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't heard positives or negatives really one way or the other for some of these bigger manufacturers in their supports. I'm guessing ham radio is probably a small part of their business, but it's still expensive equipment. So hopefully they take care of this. Yeah. Well, okay. So
I don't have anything.
No worries.
I'm still in limbo here. I don't have anything big to report other than I'm still working on it.
Okay. Okay. Well, cool. Well, there's something at least. It's in their court at least now. So.
Yeah, I mean, as long as FedEx gets it there, they should figure it out. Maybe it's a manufacturing defect. It's replicated on multiple power sources, so I don't think it's the power source. It's happened on my power source, the power source at HRO. Mark Thomas loaned me 2 other power sources.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know radios well enough to start hypothesizing what it could be. Some tiny little manufacturing defect, maybe. I'm not sure.
What mode? You say it sounds scratchy. Obviously, you're reporting what they're saying on the other side. What modes are you using when it, quote, sounds scratchy? Are you doing sideband, or are you using it for the UHF?
I only have a dual band antenna up, so it's FM, on the 2-meter band. Part of my journey was to get a radio that's HF capable so I can get an antenna up and take that step, but what I thought was my next logical step hasn't worked yet. I don't have a working radio. Except for that one. I was on this little handheld, which I don't have hooked up at the moment, but I'll be back on that for a while until this journey goes where it's going to go.
Gotcha. Well, that's too bad to hear. So, yeah, hopefully we'll see some better news next time also.
Yeah, I try to come back with a bigger smile on my face at some point.
Yeah. It's expensive paperweight, that's for sure. I don't want that.
Right.
Good evening, Fred, Jim. Thank you both for joining us. Just a few of us on here. This is the Elmer Session. If you guys have any questions or anything, let us know.
I didn't check. What's the topic tonight?
Pico balloon. Launching and tracking. And I think we'll be doing one at field day as well, so it'll be a good prep for that as well.
I didn't know that. We're doing a balloon at field day?
We are, yes, we are. We're gonna launch it and release it and track it, and it'll fall wherever it falls. We're not gonna physically go track it down, but
No chasers?
no chasers. No, I think they were saying it was gonna go off the towards one of the coasts, so it's quite a distance.
Oh, it's going. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll be talking about more on that.
I assume it's got a little whisper transmitter so you can
That's
locate
exactly
where
it. Yep, we'll be doing whisper over our call sign. Yeah, so I'm sure they'll be talking about whisper in the meeting, but there's whisper net or whisper something track it with.
Well, with luck, it won't go over China.
Yeah.
Actually, there's someplace else where they
There's
don't want it spreading. But it's someplace like Great Britain. You know, I mean, it's. I can't remember where all of the blackout spaces are, but there's one you wouldn't expect it from.
Speaking of balloons, just randomly, I remember or just hearing some stories about balloons being sent over the Korean borders with rubbish, and I guess it's just an ongoing thing for them. It's kind of odd. But, well, what else here?
Yeah, North Korea is sending those into South Korea.
Yes. Yes, because media restrictions and things like that. Yeah.
So South Korea has retaliated now with their propaganda loudspeakers projecting across the DMZ.
Strange world we live in, that's for sure. What else here? So, yeah, I have plenty of things we could talk about. Upcoming meeting tonight. Matt, Nick Mahan, WU2V, talking about Pico balloons. He has given a presentation similar to this to other clubs. So I'll be kind of an updated version of that. He has quite a bio that we have on him. Retired firefighter, paramedic. Quite a lot of information on him on our page. If you want to look him up here on the front page under the post for the meeting here. So we'll do that here in a little bit. What else here? Recent learning nets. What were we talking about? I had my history up here on that one. Let's see, on the 12th, try not to dox myself or anything here. Mount Blue Sky MCOM race, someone's going to be helping with that. They were asking about mobile radio operations, what batteries to use for that. So we were talking about portable powers, power options, picking the best batteries. There were some options for different lithium ion or lithium phosphate. I can't remember what this is. Some other batteries, mobile operations with batteries. Someone brought up batteryuniversity.com, which was a pretty good link here of lots of articles here about basics of batteries. So lots of stuff there. What else? There's that. ham radio, diesel generator EMI, someone asked about, which was a pretty good question. We hadn't had that before, I don't think. So I guess at our field days, well, definitely at our field days, we use diesel generators, and haven't really had the question of how do those affect EMI, or how much do they affect our radios. So hasn't seemed to affect us in the past. We do keep them at a distance though, so kind of an interesting question though. Speaking of field day, people are asking about other events where there's radios close to each other, how they can get noise signals away from each other. People were talking about kind of like a notch filter choke or some bandpass filters, a reject filter. Let's see. So anyone on that so far? I'll mute myself here.
Well, there's a lot of ways you can make little notch filters. You can make it out of coax.
Hey, Jim, had some noise there. You're good, though. Yeah, we were kind of looking into that.
What you do is you use 2/4 wave lengths that are. You can do it so that either as a reject or a pass. And I think the best one was a pass where you cut it a 1/4 wavelength on the frequency that you want to use. And then you short the ends. You have to have 2 of them, and you separate them by about a 1/4 wavelength of coax, so that you can. Otherwise, you might catch it at a null, and it doesn't work very well. So if you separate it by a 1/4 wavelength between the 2 stubs, then you're not going to be in the wrong spot. And of course, the 1/4 wavelength, if it's shorted, looks like an open. If you think about a Smith chart, it just revolves around the Smith chart, 180 degrees. So if it's a short, it looks open. If it's open, it looks shorted.
Okay. We'll try to relay that to the person who asked that, so that's a great answer. Thank you. Not that I understood much of it, but appreciate it.
Oh, well, I didn't specify that very well. Sorry.
No, that's more on my end. No worries. So, what else? Anyone else on any of that so far? Let me bring up that list again here. Sorry, it's my web browser history, so I'm just trying to be careful here. Not that I have anything to...
Oh, we can't read it. I can't read that.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we were talking about that. Bandpass filter kits, I think, from QRP Labs. I think someone also suggested some kit builds for that as well. So some pretty good options out there, it seemed like. What else? Transmission lines, what else? Other kits. Yeah, and then we started to talk about Whisper. Someone asked how Whisper worked, and it's very similar in terms of reporting. It's very similar to FT8 in terms of it uses internet to report back signal reports. So we were talking about that a little bit, and talked about our Pico balloon, I think, a little bit. So I think one of our members also had through Whisper, they made contact to Antarctica. Yeah, I'm sure we'll be getting a lot more information on Whisper, kind of just a digital mode for tracking, essentially, and for telemetry. So I'm sure our presenter will give us more info on that. What else? Again, good evening, Fred and Jim, if you guys have anything, or I don't see anybody else has joined yet. We have another 30 minutes until our meeting. Let's see, the 12th, and that was about it, I think, that we talked about on the Learning Net. Yeah, so anyone else so far? Otherwise, I can certainly read a story or play a video or something.
Well, I can show you the whisper from my house. You can wait a second.
Please, yeah, go right ahead. Yeah, I know you've talked about that before. That's right.
I've got a little, I think it's soda beans. They make a little transmitter. It's maybe an inch and a half square and quarter inch deep. I've got it set on 14 megahertz. And what I'll do is I'll put the link in the chat. And
Yes.
You can see they have their own kind of a dedicated website. So this is mine in the last hour. Hopefully it came through the in-call messages.
It did.
That's hanging. Well, that's off of a vertical. That's not the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I just leave it hooked up instead of off the end infed half wave.
So what are we looking at there? What are all those dots?
Those are whisper receivers that have picked. I'm the black dot in the middle, and those are whisper receivers that have picked up my signal in the last hour. If you go up at the top where it like hit 1 day, and that's what has heard me today.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, gotten pretty far there.
Give you a
14,000
signal.
kilometers.
Gives you a signal noise ratio like that was minus 24 dB. I think that's 24. Anyhow, it's not the greatest thing in the world. But you can also, if you go up to the menu and go to spots table, there they are all listed out instead of being on a map.
Okay. Yep.
And as you can see, I'm transmitting 200 milliwatts.
That's nuts. And that's an amazing distance. Wow. For 2
Right.
milliwatts. Wow.
Well, it does sort of show you that it's not the power necessarily that does it.
No, exactly. Joe Taylor's definitely given us some really cool tools with these weak signal propagation tools. That's for sure. Yeah. Wow. Jeez. Okay. So you're just transmitting what every 4 minutes? It looks like.
It varies. It's random.
Okay. Okay.
So you notice that was like 10 minutes apart there. Well, 12 minutes apart.
Yeah.
And it keep on going down. You'll see that the one prior to that was another 12 again.
So are these just acknowledgments that they received your signal, or is there any information beyond that just going back and forth?
Well, it shows the frequency they received it on, and it also, if you look at the column that is after the maiden head square, that one right there, that's the signal strength, signal noise ratio.
So that lets you know there's another ham out there at that place.
That just says that and those receivers run 24 hours a day. That's just saying, hey, I got a signal from you, and that maiden head square that's there. And my signal noise ratio on the signal you sent me was minus 12 dB, which is sufficient for FT8, but not for voice communication. Really, what its value is mostly is I can look at that and you can see that at this time of day right now, what I would hit if I happened to be on 14 megahertz would be the coasts. I wouldn't hit anybody inside under current conditions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it reminds me of Acres a little bit, although it's a different system, I guess.
I think we also talked about the PSK reporter, which is for all the other modes. So very, very similar kind of shows you what the propagation looks like, essentially, and who's getting out where. So, yeah. Well, that's really cool stuff, man. Jeez. Okay. Really cool, yeah.
Well, there's some inside the country, but yeah, there's a
But
lot
most of them are on the coasts.
Yeah.
Also, he's doing an entire day. If he would go back to the 1 hour, you'd see that I'm mostly hitting coasts more than I am anything else.
I don't know why that is.
Now, part of that is also where the receiver is located. In other words, there are very few receivers in Wyoming. There are very few hams in Wyoming.
Yeah.
There's a group that's been working on trying to do an EMS NAT on HF that is not regional. In other words, it's clear across the country. And they've been doing a lot of experimenting. And they've been doing a lot of transmitting on that frequency. They run 3 net control operators, and they're using Olivia, which is a digital mode. And they've been doing it at least weekly, if not more often, to send messages and that sort of thing, to actually send emergency traffic clear across the United States. And that's when they were doing it mostly because of the times they were hitting. They were using 14 megahertz. I could respond to people in Massachusetts and in Wisconsin, not Wisconsin, but Washington, and in Texas down south, but I could not talk to anybody in Kansas, I guarantee it. And I've got an Invis antenna, basically. So it just matched the pattern that you just saw. Now, the folks in Massachusetts, of which there were several, they could get Kansas and they could get Washington, but forget Virginia.
So that's because your signal's just sailing right past
Yep.
those states.
Bending over. And I see that the El Presidente, Mr. Jerry, is here.
Hey, yeah, it's good evening, Jerry. Didn't even hear that. Come in here. Well, excellent. Thanks for sharing that. So, yeah, anyone else? We have another 20 minutes or so. I got plenty of stuff I can bring up, but stories, comments, questions, projects you're working on, anything, let us know. I guess we were briefly talking about this at the very beginning. I can share a little bit more here, though. Jeff Irvin shared this story with us. Wheat Ridge to retire emergency sirens. Residents urged to get lookout alert. So there is a 2.5-minute video from Fox News. I'm going to play that, and we'll throw it back to the group here.
Only on Fox 31, the city of Wheat Ridge plans to do away with the emergency siren system they've had in place for 16 years.
Yeah, the city says they hope to have residents sign up for Jefferson County's lookout alerts instead. Our Nicole Fierro on it live with the latest on this shift and the reasons for it. Nicole.
Yeah, so there's 15 of these towers all throughout the city of Wheat Ridge, but they tell us with how often they're having to do maintenance, how much it's costing to keep up, and how many times they're using these in the past few years for any alerts that are legitimate. They think that the lookout alert modern technology just makes more sense.
With severe weather and safety threats, minutes can make a difference.
So in 2008, the city of Wheat Ridge got a grant to basically install about 15 of these towers.
For 16 years, Wheat Ridge has had the emergency siren system to get mass notifications out to people in case of an emergency. But
over the past 5 years, we've only sent out one legitimate message through these things, and that was for a hail event. So just one time over 5 years. The rest have been tests.
And each year, Wheat Ridge Police spokesperson Alex Rose says it costs between $9 and $10 grand to maintain the towers.
If we wanted to strip all 15 of these down and replace them with new units, That would cost us between $1.5 to $3 million. We just don't think that's a really responsible use of taxpayer money, so we've made the decision to retire them, and instead we're trying to get more people in the city of Wheat Ridge to subscribe to Lookout Alert.
Lookout Alert is a free service. Jefferson County launched it 2 years ago. If you sign up online, you get customized notifications for your area.
That way you can get a call, a text, an email if, say, police need to order a shelter in place in your area, or if there is some sort of a weather emergency. Again, it just doesn't make sense to spend almost $10,000 a year on continuing to update a system that just frankly isn't very effective compared to the technology we can leverage today.
And we reached out to Jeffco Communications, who runs this program, to ask about people who might not be tech savvy, may not have a smartphone, how they sign up, and they haven't gotten back to us yet, but we did look online, and on their FAQ, their questions answered, common asked questions thing, it says that sometimes landlines, they're automatically enrolled. Any update we get on that, though, we'll let you know, and we have all the latest information on this story on our website. Live here in Wheat Ridge, Nicole Fierro, Fox 31.
All right, Nicole. Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you.
All right, so interesting to hear, since we have supported that for quite a few years now. So, but as mentioned there, it kind of fiscally makes sense, unfortunately. So, yeah. Anything else on that, Jeff, or anyone else?
Yeah, and just to clarify, she said sometimes landlines are included. That's not true. We get an extract from Lumen every month and an extract from Comcast once a year, and those numbers are all ported into the system for emergency notifications.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, interesting to hear. That would be for reverse 911, I'm guessing, or
we don't use that term because it indicates that there's some type of secret sauce that 911 brings to it. It isn't. It's just in essence, an auto dialer system that calls those numbers. So we call it emergency notification system.
Only a once a year dump from Comcast? That surprises me.
Well, I take that back. So we get billed once a year, but we get monthly extracts that update any changes.
That makes sense.
Because I know they have more churn than that. So
yeah, and the same thing with Lumen.
And we didn't support Wheat Ridge this year, did we? Or they didn't do their siren test this year, did they? We just supported one, I think. Which one did we just do? Lakewood. Okay.
Lakewood did theirs, yeah.
Okay. Well, it'd be interesting. I don't know if anybody else has anything on that.
Too bad we can't commandeer some of those poles.
Exactly. I'm sure someone. Yeah, exactly.
Well, they'd probably let you come and get them.
I'm sure someone will go take the copper. That's always up for grabs.
Yeah,
seems like.
really.
Well, let's see. I think I had a video from our Wheat Ridge siren test from a couple of years ago, or 2021, so I can show you guys a little bit on that. But yeah, we would just go out and listen for the sirens and make sure the warbled sounded correctly, and we heard all the alerts correctly, and the if there was a solar panel that it's looking clean, and yeah, and then check back in. So I guess last year probably, or the year before, will be the last time we'll have done that, I think. So it seems like it can be intermixed within the cities, so I wonder if another city will try to take them up here. Well, I have a few other things, but anyone else? Got 15 minutes or so.
I was just going to say that I live in a house that's not all that old, but it's tight enough that I can't hear the sirens from outside.
Wow. I guess that's good soundproofing. That's good. You know, that's a fair enough point. I mean, I live in Englewood, and they do them once a year as well, and I certainly don't hear them inside my home either, to be honest. So that is... kind of worrying, I guess. Well, what else here? You can hack a Baofeng UV5R for 1.25 meters. Let's see here. If you, I think there was a trick here. If you import it into Chirp with a certain brand, I forget exactly. UV, the Radio Diddy UV 5XR3. If you read the UV5R as that, and then or write it back out, I guess you then have a 1.25 meter option. So I tried it, didn't really have much good luck on it, but it probably is not meant to do it. So just a random thing I had found here. So not sure if anybody's tried that or anything, but we do have a 1.25 meter repeater. Yeah, just a little hack. What else? Let's see. ARL Systems disruption. Ongoing saga from them. They had a cybersecurity incident and have been getting back control of all of their equipment and systems and processes. So I think as of now everything should be back up. But as of the 14th, it says they're continuing to make progress on restoring the network and many related systems and databases. Logbook of the World. Secure and unaffected. They've taken some higher precautionary measure to take those offline. Some of their online courses. Let's see. They experienced some issues. But yeah, they were hit by a cybersecurity attack. So, but I think everything's mostly back up now.
I couldn't understand why someone would pick ARL to attack.
Exactly. You know, what do they have really that's not publicly accessible already? They probably have some payment information, but apart from that, they don't.
They
really
don't keep that.
No. Okay. Yeah. So.
What they're after is ransomware.
Fair enough. Yeah. Exactly.
They hit them hard. They don't really care that much about the data, but they hit them hard and shut them down and say, hey, if you pay us money, we will go ahead and let you come alive again. I don't know that's what's happened here, but that is one of the common things that's been going on.
That would make sense. Doesn't seem like there's much other reason. Yeah. All right, well, they're back up, so, yeah, anyone else on that? Or see, news stories, Teachers Institute kicks off summer cohorts. Teachers are gathered from around the United States to learn about amateur radio and how to use it in their classroom as part of STEM. Let's see, first group, first time reading this article. First group of members for the year are each returning teachers participating in the second round of learning. It was an amazing immersive experience that broadened their knowledge of wireless technology, electronics, and amateur radio. They implemented ideas and applications from the very first day of their workshop within the first week of their return to school, said Everton KD2ZZT, a teacher from Staten Island. Attending further cohorts would further invigorate teaching practice and allow it to do more cool projects. So, yeah, as we've been preaching, it's this is a hobby of engineering and STEM, and it's a great introduction for anyone. So, pretty cool story on that. What else here? Yeah, field day's kicking off. It's been a little bit. I've been a little bit quiet about it this year on ours. Just busy time of the year, but June 22nd, 23rd, so this coming weekend. We'll love to see people out. w0tx.org/field day for more information on that. We'll be at the Prospect Arena like we have been in the past couple of years. Love to have you out there. I think this year we're going to try to do more with less. We'll be bringing out less equipment, but try to utilize it a lot better than we have in the past. What else? Anyone? I have been talking enough, but we have 12 minutes. Let's see who else has joined us here. Kevin, appreciate you joining us. Fred or Jim or anyone that we haven't heard from, if you want to chime in, don't hesitate to. What else do I have here? Video that I played. Let's see. We'll play this a minute or so here, but we don't talk about. Oh, I'm gonna screw that up, so I'm not gonna even say it. Wave dynamics. But let's see here.
I'm here at the Navy's indoor ocean at Carderock. This is the biggest wave pool in the world, and they can make all kinds of different waves so they can test, scale ships, and make them better before they actually go out on the open ocean.
Requirement for the wave maker.
There's something a bit like surreal about watching this because it almost looks like an ocean, except you never see waves this regular out there.
Correct.
One of the fundamental characteristics of a wave is its wavelength, the distance from one crest to the next. The first thing most people learn about waves is they transmit energy rather than material from one place to another. In this case, as the wave travels to the right, the water molecules themselves basically move along circular paths, and the deeper the water, the smaller this motion. All motion stops at a depth equal to half the wavelength. This is known as the wave base. But even in an ideal water wave, the molecules do drift a bit in the direction of wave motion, and this is because the molecules travel faster the higher up they are. So they move farther at the top of their loop than they move backwards at the bottom, creating a spiral path. This place is perfect for observing properties of different waves. I asked Miguel to show me some waves with different frequencies but the same amplitude.
So what I'll have them do now is I'll have them stop this wave and this change the frequency. Because we're at 0.6, we'll go to 0.5, so it'll be a 2-second wave.
Here I'm split screening waves with frequencies of 0.67, 0.5, and 0.33 Hertz, all with the same amplitude. So, two things to notice. Even though they all have the same amplitude, the ones with higher frequency look like they have a greater amplitude because the slope of the waves is steeper. And second, the frequency of a wave affects its speed. High frequency waves travel slower than low frequency waves. In fact, as long as the water is deeper than the wave base, wave speed is inversely proportional to its frequency. They have a really cool demo that takes advantage of the different speeds of different... A lot of things must be...
Or a figure...
billion-dollar vessels in the water to see how different designs actually behave in real-world conditions.
Full scale, you're the same conditions.
For fluid mechanics, I always expect that you have to keep the Reynolds number the same as in the real-world phenomena. But actually, to get the right wave dynamics, you have to use a different scale, which is based...
I'm sorry.
on the Froude number. So the Froude number is a measure of the ratio of inertial to gravitational forces. It's equal to the flow velocity divided by the square root of the acceleration due to gravity times the characteristic length, like the length of the ship. In this case, the model ship's hull is 46 times smaller than the real thing, which means to get accurate data, it should be traveling at 1 over the square root of 46 times its real-world speed. And to make the footage from the model look the same as that from the full-size ship, you have to slow it down by a factor of the square root of 46, so roughly 6.8 times.
Sorry about that. All right. Got some spam joining us here. I may have to end the meeting if this doesn't stop. Give me a second here. Sorry, I had a few things happen there. I had deafened myself from this call. Sorry. And then we had some spam joining in here. Let me see. Okay. Okay, I think I have fixed that here. All right, sorry about that. I hope nothing explicit came up there. Let's see. I've restricted it so nobody can share their video just at the moment. I will turn that off here in a minute. If anybody has anything, last 5 minutes here, let me know.
That was a slick wave machine, though, before that all happened. Never saw one of
Yes.
those before.
Yes, wave fluid dynamics. It's an interesting way to look and at waves. Yeah. So.
And it looks like Matt has joined us, McMahon Group.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening. How you doing?
Good. Hope you guys are.
Well, we were until we got spammed a little bit ago, but Daron got them all shut down, so hopefully it won't come back.
Yeah. Let me see here. If you want to test sharing your screen, Matt, just in case.
Yeah, I was actually going to, I'm not totally familiar with Google Meet, so you'll have to bear with me. I'm looking for where that share screen icon is.
You see there's a little square box with an up arrow down at the bottom of the screen.
Let's see. Yeah, and it says you are not allowed to share your screen.
Let me make sure I have that turned off.
Should be good now, Matt.
All right,
Yeah.
stand by one, working on it.
Thank you. Yes, we could see that. Thank you. It's not full screen of the presentation itself, though, but.
All right, stand by one, just working to get, if you see it full screen, let me know, just working through that.
Sounds good here. All right, so very quickly to wrap things up, thanks for joining us here on the Elmer Session. Just a general Q&A about ham radio, STEM topics. We talked about quite a lot of things there. I got thrown off there just at the last minute, though, but ongoing saga about Ed Reed and his Yaesu radio and getting some, not necessarily the best support, a little bit of a runaround from Yaesu support, so hopefully maybe some better news next time. We talked about what we talked about on our last learning. That's some bandpass filters, notch filter reject kits, Whisper, AZ or GQ. Tom shared his Whisper recent spots. That was pretty cool. Sirens. Talk about the Wheat Ridge sirens are no longer going to be used. Wheat Ridge is discontinuing their use due to financial costs, so we won't be supporting them on that anymore. And I'm sure there were some other things, and then just the last minute there, a video by Veritasium on fluid wave dynamics. I'll probably start to wrap things up, and unless anybody has any very last minute thing here, but we only have a minute or so. Let me see here. I will be Here we go. This meeting is locked down a little bit. It's not open to join by anyone, so I am monitoring that just because we had a recent just bots and spams join us in the last 5 minutes. So W0TX.org for more information on us, and youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. We're streaming this, live streaming this, and past nets and meetings. Feel free to join us on there if you'd like. But with that, I will throw it over to Jerry Vilhauer or anyone else. We have just another 30 seconds.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody. I guess you hear me, right? Yeah, looks like it.
Yeah. Yes.
Anyway, our big event, as you mentioned, there is our field day coming up this weekend. That'll be on Friday and Saturday, June 22nd, June 23rd at Prospect Arena. Hopefully everybody, we've put it out enough. I hope everybody knows about it. We're going to need help Saturday.